I'm Yulia, the voice of the podcast Love to Heal, a journey of self-discovery, healing, and spiritual growth. Hi, everybody. Today, I have a guest from Brisbane, Australia. Her name is Talia Webster. She's a collector of knowledge and a promoter of the power of intuition. Today, she's here to tell us a part of her journey, as well as hopefully spread her love of life and healing to as many people as possible. Hi, Talia.
Hello, Yulia. We've been wanting to do this for a while, so it's great that we kind of nailed it down.
We're both moms, and it's not that easy sometimes to align our schedules, especially that we have, like a 16-hour difference in time?
Yeah, it's one of actually the lessons I have learned in life is that some things 100% will just flow, but embracing the chaos includes embracing when things don't go to plan.
Yes. Thank you for saying that. Completely agreed. Today, we basically just want to chat and see what comes out of this meeting on Zoom, because we do have
Very
a lot.
intuitive.
Yeah, we have a lot in common. I feel like we're kind of on a similar journey, if you will, on a spiritual journey. And one of the commonalities is that we want to help people. We want to heal as many people as possible to spread the love, right? Because I'm all about healing with love, hence the name of my podcast, Love to Heal. And Talia, too, I would love for you to share your story. So go ahead.
So where I would like to start is how I actually met you. So
Okay.
am on a multitude of different groups because I really enjoy seeing everyone's perspective in life. And I feel very strongly in my heart that without seeing every single perspective, you never have the full image of anything. So let's just take like this crystal that I have here. If you look at it, you can see from this angle, this side. But as you turn, you see all different facets from the bottom to the top. And without seeing and accepting all parts of everything, you can never see anything's whole. And included in that, of course, is the paradoxes of life. And they are very hard for our mind to wrap around and to understand. But that's where trust really comes in. So being on that and seeing all these other different people's point of view makes me glow with like my energy of light, and making other people see things from different perspectives and bringing them into alignment with themselves is so important. And I really felt drawn to listening and your podcast. So first I got drawn to one of your posts that you had up online asking people to share their spiritual journey on your podcast. I was like,
That's right.
yes. And then I was like, okay. And then I started listening to everything you said. I'm like, oh yeah, this lady's got it. She's on that frequency that I'm on. It's like I really enjoy listening to her.
Aw.
And every person that you've brought on, I've been like, yep, we've got this. And I feel this resonance in that of meeting people where they're at. And rather than going, you're wrong, or trying to prove yourself, saying what you have is valid, what you're learning is valid. Let's learn together.
Yeah.
And that I feel is like the cornerstone of every single spiritual anything. It's the full acceptance of every single situation. And it's something that is so simple to say, and yet one of the hardest things in the world to do.
That's true. That's absolutely true. We all come from such different backgrounds, from such different upbringings. And it's so hard, like you said, to just let go, step out of the box and see what other people feel and think and try to understand them and come to some kind of agreement.
Mm.
So, what have you been doing lately in your life to heal,
So,
to help people? What have you been
yeah.
doing?
So, um, my spiritual journey started when I was very young. I grew up on a boat.
Oh,
So I spent every single day from when I was 5 to when I was 12 in nature, every day, swimming, and the most amazing experiences of pretty much talking to animals and swimming with animals and trusting them and loving them, from crocodiles to parakeets and manta rays that would come up and actually swim underneath me, and I would actually grab on and swim with
wow.
them. Um, and some of those experiences were very scary, but others were so beautiful, and it really gave me the experience of trust
Hmm.
in what is. And at no point in time did I realize then, and I grew up in different cultures as well. We sailed around Thailand, Indonesia, all of the Indian archipelago and Papua New Guinea, and being around those people, I never knew any different from being any different to anyone else. So I find it, I don't see, like, I notice the difference of race, and I notice the
Right.
difference of culture, because they're all so beautiful. And it depends how you take it. But I've always found it difficult, this concept of of racism in general. I'm like, but we're all the same. We're all one. So that's something I find I struggle, but I can see that people see it as difference, and then that difference causes conflict.
Yeah,
And there's something so amazing about letting that go.
right.
That
Agreed.
difference doesn't have to cause conflict, or dualities don't have to cause conflict, but they can harmonize together. Um, so I came back from being on the boat, and there was a massive culture shock to me, being around people that were very egocentric and ego driven.
Hmm.
And I can only actually, I didn't notice it at the time. Um, like I knew something was wrong, but I wanted to fit in. I was like, okay, so this is where I am now, so I need to fit in here, because
Hmm.
in nature, it is all about being in flow with everything, which means you go with what's happening and what's needed with you, from you, and with you at the time. So I just moved into that new ecosystem.
Okay.
And it was a big shift. I only noticed it later, and I struggled. And the way I coped with that was I drew from what I'm now seeing, I thought of at the time as an imaginary friend, but now seeing as a spirit guide.
Oh, okay.
Um, the one thing I don't, that I see when I look and read all the different texts, is that a lot of things have been seen and are documented, but they're all labeled different things, because
Hmm.
we love boxes and labeling things, and that's
Sure.
not necessarily as life is, but it works with communication and flow.
Okay, yeah.
So with my spirit guide, she helped me through a lot of those times, and I went through a very dark period where I actually rejected her. And when I that was about 17, and when I said and I did that, I rejected my whole entire spiritual journey. And I said, no, because I just want to, it was, I've been meditating a lot about this,
Hmm.
because I think there's something there I'm missing, but I'm also not missing it. Yeah, it's just not meant to be known
Hmm.
right now. But in that, it's that either I said to myself, or I was told, this isn't the right time for this.
Okay.
And then when I turned 24, so in like 20, no, 2019, in
Mhm.
2019, it was time.
You felt it. Yeah.
And I saw other people doing their spiritual stuff. I'm like, yes. And I listened to things from Angelo, and I then researched things on all these different gurus and other spiritual groups that I joined. And I met my ex-partner who really like was into the spiritual side, and it all just like came like tumbling back of
Mm.
like this release and expanse. And it's one of the most beautiful things I've ever experienced. Um, but also it's so everybody's journey is so beautiful, and I actually find it better than watching TV or anything, like listening to anybody's
Right.
story of life, because it's so beautiful. And I have such like even heartfelt dramatic stories
Mm-hmm.
that I have seen have all grown into something that that person needed.
Of course, absolutely. And you know what's interesting? You say, I like how that you're very positive and you look at everything at life as beautiful. But there's a lot of people out there I've noticed on these spiritual groups, such as on Facebook, where they complain a lot about their experiences. They say it's the toughest
Mm.
times that they've ever been through. It's so painful. It's so dark. They're so lonely. There's so many stories like that. And I just like I wish I could talk to them and comfort them and like be of some kind of help. But personally, I did not have a dark, difficult enlightenment story. Like I didn't have that. I mean, yes, I dealt with anxiety for many years. Yes, I went through ups and downs just like everybody else, but I don't know if I'm just lucky or if I'm a very positive person myself. I don't know. How do you feel?
So I have a theory. I have many working theories. This working theory of mine is this, and it's come from a bunch of religious texts, like from Mesopotamia, Sanskrit, and there are a lot of it about the Egyptian Book of the Dead. But it's all about bringing in different resonances. And so, from what I feel is right now we're going through this a shift. And I feel like right now there is a lot of heavy hitters here on earth.
Mm,
What I mean by that is like highly spiritual beings are here this time, because I love to use this analogy, because everyone here is a child.
hmm
Mother, being source, has legitimately told everyone here, clean up your room,
hmm
and they haven't. And their mum's come back in and gone, hey, guys, we've really got to clean up the room, right? Like, I'm not joking around. Like, we've got to clean up the room. And then what's happened is mum's lost her shit because no one's been like people have, and I'm not saying no one has, but
hmm
it hasn't worked. Like,
Right.
you've done a little bit, but you haven't actually cleaned up the room like you're supposed to. And mum's like, okay, no, we're not having this anymore. Guess what? There's no messing around anymore. We're going through this. We're cleaning the room.
hmm
And so she's sitting everyone down, and she's sending everyone with their guides, and they're saying, no, no, we're cleaning this up. There's like, mum's not giving us a second chance. There's no second chances. If we don't clean up, shit's like, no. Um, and that is the vibe of it. And every single one person that I've said that, I'm like, yeah, no, that's the vibe. I can't. Like, I'm like, yeah. What do you think? Do you agree?
Yeah, okay. I like that analogy. That makes sense. But you're saying that this is specifically targeted at people that are already ready to sort of ascend to the next level, right? That
Yeah.
are,
Oh, I think it's people that are close, but it's not only that. the way frequencies work is that if there's a lot of low frequencies, then everyone's going to vibrate lower, and it's going to be a lot harder to then like bump up, or feel love and feel light. And there was so much darkness that we're like, okay, we need to send some people that already have so much love and so much light within them. And this is where like different spiritual aspects come in that are a lot harder for the mind to grasp. Is like, let's say that we do have higher selves, and from those higher selves there are different souls that are guiding us. Within those souls, some of them, I believe, have said, we need to do something about this. We're going down. Like, this isn't helping from afar. We're going on the level. Like, we need to be there to help them up. So, and the other theory that I've noticed is this. So anyone that is on this path that hasn't experienced great darkness, I've noticed so you're probably one of the people that is here just to spread light, and you're so light yourself that the darkness can't even, it's not that it can't penetrate you, but it's just, that's exactly why you're here. Some people have experienced great darkness. I'm probably like, I haven't experienced like ridiculous darkness, but I've been able to really go into so along my journey, I've been raped. My daughter doesn't have a father. And there's definitely been hardships in my life. Wow. But I would not change one thing of them, because they have brought me to exactly the person that I am now. And without going through all that to be where I am now, I wouldn't be able to meet some of the people that are in their darkest places, grab their hand and lead them to where they need to be.
Okay. Yeah.
So I feel like some people are brought here just to spread light. Some people are here to have gone through darkness so they can lead people through that darkness to the light again. And that other people are here to actually spread darkness. And that isn't necessarily a bad thing, because within darkness, you can gain the brightest of light.
That reminds me, actually, in one of my episodes, I talked about the fact that there's always duality in everything, and without bad, there wouldn't be good. And without good, there wouldn't be bad. So it's like we need this duality. We can't just have good and that's it, and light and that's it. Just like we can't have day without night, we can't have night without day, etc. Right? So that makes sense. By the way, your name, your Instagram name is Dark Mother, right?
Yeah.
How can you explain how you chose that?
So I chose that because even though I love and I love light, and it's all like, to me, everything is light, even in darkness. But I definitely skew more towards, like, I'm not scared of the dark in any way, shape, or form. As a child, I was so scared of the dark. And now I could sit in the darkness. I could close my eyes in the dark in a place, and I know without a doubt that I am safe.
Okay, wow.
And so that's been very much a part of my journey, is the fact that I know that in darkness, there is still safety. So I chose the name Dark Mutha, because for me, I've always been a mother. Like, I've always felt that very deep, like since a child, I've always felt that. And a few of my guides are like Hecate and Semra, and like they're more on the darker side. They're more on the war side
Hmm.
of things. So I'm like, I can't, even though I exude light, and whenever I've like sung with people or worked with people, they're like, oh my God, you're so bright and so have so
Uh-huh.
much light. I'm like, yes, 100%. I'm not saying that I am darkness, like I'm not the devil
Hmm.
or what, but and I've thought about this. I've like my marketing mind has kicked in and gone, you probably should have chosen a better name than that because you're just going to scare people away. But I'm like, people that cannot accept the darkness,
Right.
I don't think I actually want to work with them.
That's very true. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And actually, can you tell us a little bit about a workshop that I saw that you organized called Freeing Energy Gathering? Can you tell us about what you did, how you did it, and what came out of it?
So often at full moons, what I'll do, full moons and new moons, is I'll hold space for anyone who wants to come and sing and like just exude energy of the moment. Sometimes I've had like 8 people turn up, and sometimes no one has said they're coming, and I go to the space, and someone walking by will really need just that space.
Hmm.
And they'll be in like a really, really dark place, and just holding light with them in that darkness is exactly what they needed. So in my sessions or whatever I do, it's always very intuitive and very in sync with the moment. And sometimes what I'll do is I'll make spell jars with crystals. I'll often do uh, circle rounds of the compass
Mm.
and give offerings to whatever and whatever energies is there. And then I speak light language,
Oh, you
which
do?
is, yeah, which I have spoken since I was a child. And I never thought anything of it. I just know that I need it sometimes to like clear energies, and it's a part of my expression out.
Hmm.
And when I found that I've sung for people, they're able to connect in with their selves and their soul a lot easier. So
Wow.
I found that to be very needed sometimes. So whatever is needed in the moment is what I do, which is why I try not to label things, because people will come in with like preconceived ideas of what's going
Hmm.
to happen, and I'm like, anything could happen. Like
Wow.
the most different things happen at every single one of these events that I've hosted, and I couldn't label it
Hmm.
like at all.
Wow. By the way, did you do anything for the summer solstice?
I did. It was beautiful. We went down and I did a big along the beach. What had been swept up onto the beach was actually pieces of coral.
Ah,
And I don't know where it came from,
huh.
but there was this seaweed, there was coral, and there was shells all where we gather. And also what had been unearthed was a rock, a pointed rock like this.
Mm.
So I made a fire, and we did a circle with the seashells and the sand and the seaweed and the coral. And then we pointed the point due north, and then I did a crystal sigil on the side. And then around the outside of the circle, we each wrote something in light language that we wanted to bring forth into the new light.
Wow. I didn't even know you could write in light language.
Yeah.
That's so neat. There's so much I'm finding out. Wow. Yeah, for the summer solstice, my little spiritual group here locally, we did the fire spiral, which was really neat. And we walked it and we kind of left behind what we no longer needed and made projections for the future. So that was a really cool, energetic workshop that we did with some people here too. So that's neat. So one of the videos that you posted on Instagram that I was drawn to. I think this is similar to maybe what you just discussed. There were designs on sand, and you were kind of walking around and explaining that, and I had never seen that before. So what was that exactly?
So that's light language.
Okay.
I found that so I can write it and I can read it and I can speak it, and I very much prefer to sing it,
Huh.
but I can also sign it
Wow.
as well. I've been working a lot with a group of ladies in like expanding that because I've always done it, but doing light language in a group has the most beautiful energy and power that I've actually really felt. And the only way I can kind of explain it is like we're sending light, because especially when we're talking to people from other sides of the world, we're actually sending this light and energy from each other in through the earth as we're doing it.
Hmm.
And that's what like I feel, whether it's true or not. All of this spiritual stuff is what you believe and what you
Yeah,
believe to be true, and
that's
just
true.
accepting that.
Wow, that's really interesting. By the way, can you speak light language at any point of time? Like if I asked you right now, could you say something?
I definitely could. I'd need to like 100% like tune in,
Oh, uh-huh.
but yeah, yeah.
That's so
I
neat.
pr- I I don't know if it'll come through. I've been loving my drum at the moment,
Hmm.
and I'll give it a go. But like so, crystal bowls and like drums and like other things are a great way to establish and connect with your light language.
Hmm.
And anyone who wants to speak light language, okay, so I want to say this first. So like within the spiritual realm, never trust anyone that says that you need to you can't do something.
Hmm.
So if someone says to you, you need to pay me before you can do this, it's like that isn't true.
Hmm.
If you want to pay someone because you don't have the knowledge yet, 100%. If you feel drawn to do that, like getting your tarot read, or you want crystals done, or if you want other things, you can go do it. But really listening to your own intuition, your own gut, if you're drawn to that, to do it yourself, or if you are wanting to pay someone to do it. Our modern world loves the idea of paying someone to do something like
Hmm.
cleaning, like, we'll get someone else who is more knowledgeable to do this. But if you want the best experience of anything, and I'm saying this, someone who's actually starting a website wanting people to pay me, but um, but if you feel really drawn to it in your heart, it's because it wants to learn how to do it itself.
Hmm.
A lot of the time in these teachings, um, we're wanting uh, a, uh, a quicker step
Hmm.
into something. And spiritual growth, sadly, is not one of those things that
Right.
is
That's for
is
sure.
fast. And it's something that really, even though we want it to maybe go fast or we want to skip a step, it's never gonna go at your rate. Any mothers that are listening, it's childbirth. You
Yeah.
have no control. You need to tap into your own energy and go with the flow.
Yep.
And
That's
that's
another
what I've
good
found
analogy.
to anything in this spiritual realm is tap into your own intuition always first,
Hmm.
and trust your gut.
Yeah.
But so with light language, if you want to speak it, I recommend putting on like crystal bowls, meditating and getting into that frequency of meditation. However you get there is
Hmm.
however you're supposed to get there. And just hum. So if we get there, you might not hear the drum, but it's easier for me.
Wow, that was really beautiful, first of all. Second of all, this is so interesting because, okay, when I went to do my QHHT session, right? The lady that spoke light language there with me to clear my energy, she spoke a very different light language. And there are different ones, right?
There are so many different ones. So depending on who's coming through for me, and especially the tools that I'm using, is how I speak. When you do this, I'm going to put a disclaimer that sometimes it can be quite scary. Sometimes things that come through, which I definitely could have classified or would have classified as like maybe sounds that sound very satanic or devil or like demonic, have actually been that clearing. So but like sometimes I speak in tongues, sometimes it's very high pitched, and that's apparently like Palladian. But there are I'm still learning like the different languages, but like in my heart I'm like, it doesn't actually matter if I label this or not. It's about the fact that you connect with your energy and then let it out. And when I'm healing people, it's different. But and when I do different, let's go with, I think I will resonate with different frequencies. I've always done that, like within my life, is like I'll meet anyone where they're at, and that's that vision of experiencing all sides and all avenues. And I'll meet someone where they're at to see their point of view, because I'm like, I want to see the whole picture. You've got to really, like, tell me. I will sit here and wait with you and be able to learn your side of this, so I can see that side of this, of everything of life. And from that, it's all about speaking from where you're at. So depending on who I'm with and what I'm doing is what's coming through. Right now, the ancestor that's been coming through is very Native American. It's a
I was
Native
gonna say
American.
that sounded so Native American, yeah.
And that is who I'm with at the moment, and that is who's really coming through. And she's all about healing the earth and connecting roots and being very earth driven. And like, so that's why, like, I've been like wearing all the earth colors, and I'm like, okay, that's what I'm in at the moment. But at other times I'm drawn to different things. And when I was a teenager, it sounded 100% Latin.
Oh.
I got away with, I would say to my friends that I was speaking Latin because it sounded Latin 100%. Like even like when I picked up a dictionary, I made the assumption that I was just speaking Latin. Because when I looked at some of the Latin words, I was like, oh yeah, I've said that when I've talked like that. So I'm just making an assumption I'm speaking Latin. It's only like now that I've learned about light language, that I'm like, oh, I was just speaking light language, which was probably like through that Latin time.
But do you know what you're saying exactly when it comes out?
So
How does that work?
the thing about light language is it's not. So our language is, I can say language and you know what that means. So
Mm-hmm.
you're picking up that specific word. But okay, this is something that everyone would kind of understand. So when you are listening to someone who is speaking, sometimes there's an undercurrent, and I'm not sure if everyone can feel this, because some of these things everyone can feel, and I strongly believe everyone can feel everything. It's just if you're open to feeling it or not. There's an undercurrent to what people are saying. That undercurrent is the frequency that they're vibrating at.
Hmm.
And some people can read that and understand that. That is light language. So rather than speaking the words over the top, light language is just speaking this part.
Okay.
And for me, it lights up all my chakras. Like I can actually feel
Oh.
it. And sometimes, usually, it will always light up my heart the most. And like from there, it's just like, so that's why I'm definitely drawn to do it, and I love doing it so much. Is I feel like from that space, I'm not only connecting to myself, but I'm connecting to everything else through that. And
Mm-hmm.
however that comes up for you is how it's meant to come up for you. And a lot of, actually, I haven't met that many people that speak like language that are all about speaking it from a specific language, or maybe they just haven't said it like that. But
Mm-hmm.
if you start speaking it, it's just, it lights your whole entire body up. And it's so healing
Hmm.
for whatever and whoever you are,
Yeah.
because it's that connection and letting through of light. On the other side of this, I have heard that people say, well, you can't speak light language because it's a 5D frequency and you can't actually hear or speak it. And to that, I would say, cool, then we might have a slightly different definition of what we're speaking. Like maybe it is that 5D language that I'm interpreting, and then that's what's coming out of me. But it's definitely somewhere there that I'm not. That I'm still, like, for me, that's still in my experimental stage, and I need to gather more people's thoughts and feelings and views
Right.
about that. But I love, like, it's all about that seeing everything, is like, I love having that and going, okay, and that can 100% be that person's or that group of people's opinion. But my heart's not, that doesn't match my heart.
Yeah.
And that, that's that trusting your intuition and knowing that, you know what, it's okay even in that for me to be wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Like I may have it wrong. I may get to the end of my life and go back to wherever I'm from, or walk back into source and go, oh no, I didn't have that definition right. But having that definition wrong is what defined that moment. And that's what I didn't need that. I needed what it was for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. Yeah, I'm very interested in this topic. It's very new to me. When I looked it up on YouTube, I just put in light language. All these videos showed up of different people speaking light language. And I just thought, oh my goodness, where have I been all this time and didn't know anything about it? And apparently it's pretty widespread.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. And that's why it's like a lot of things that like will come up, but with everyone resonating at a higher frequency, we're all just like, it's that vibratory level, and it's just like it bubbles up and it's like la, 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 la. And
mhm.
I think with lots of other people speaking it, It's making that vibrate higher. And so more people then will try to speak it. But for me, it's all about that self-expression. If I'm being like
Mm-hmm.
honest with myself, it's the release of control and self-expression that's needed within this world at this minute. To know that yes, you can understand these words with your heart. So when you listen, you probably wouldn't be able to listen now, but when you listen to someone with light language, your heart knows what that person's saying, and
Mm-hmm.
your intuition knows what that person's saying. You know what? Even if your intuition doesn't necessarily know, you'll get a feeling of what it is, and that is like that's the start of trusting your intuition. And as you start to trust that more, what happens is you get more information from it. It's like learning a new language of trust. And if you don't let your mind, because what sometimes can happen with people is you trust your intuition, and you trust your intuition so much that you will respond or react. Your intuition isn't actually about responding or reacting. It's about telling you what's there.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't mean you need to run away from something if you're scared. It's telling you you're scared. Be aware, and the awareness of that is might be, but it also might not.
Hmm. That's an interesting way to look
It's
at it. Yeah.
it's it's yeah, it's interesting. It's a paradox of life.
Yeah, for sure. By the way, I saw that you also had your human design chart. What
Yeah,
did that reveal to you?
that revealed I very much enjoyed doing that for myself. From your video, I was like, "What's human design? I've never heard of that before. Oh,
Ah,
I'm doing that." And I was like, "Okay." So I went on the free website and I
yeah.
did it, and then I found out I was a manifesting generator.
Okay.
The the biggest thing I got from that, and it was actually quite a big shift for me, actually, is that I've always felt self-conscious of the fact that I can't stick to one thing,
Mm-hmm.
and I jump from one thing to another thing, and I gain a massive load of information in a very short amount of time.
Yeah.
And there are actually two things. So from that, I've always felt like sometimes I feel like a little bit of a fraud for being able, like, I haven't studied for that long, like, but how do I know all this stuff? Like, I know all this stuff and I have all this massive source of information, but I haven't studied for that long. So that made me feel like I needed to study for longer, even though my heart said, but you already know everything here,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
which is more like it's saying, you've gathered all the information you need from this. So why are you keeping on going?
Uh-huh.
And knowing that that was a part of myself, and then me accepting that that was okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I love
It
that.
was like it was so freeing. It was so freeing because I'm like, it's okay because it's me.
Right. You got that permission slip, right?
Yeah.
I totally feel you on this because that's the story of my life. I've been jumping from place to place, from work, from job to job. And I always kind of, yeah, I was hard on myself about that. I kept asking, wondering, why can't I hold a job? Why can't I just focus on one thing and, keep going at it like other people do? But yeah, it's so good to just get that permission slip, basically. Tells you it's
Yeah.
okay, it's you, you're designed that way. And I love that explanation that, you know, like let's say I was at one of my jobs, it was in a software company. Don't ask me how I got in there because
That's fine.
it's not me at all, right? I'm the super creative spiritual person, but somehow I started working at a software company, and guess what? I was really good at what I was doing. I was using my language skills. They needed Russian and Spanish, and I was traveling to different countries and teaching people how to use the software that they were selling, right? This company. But then came a point in time where it was just like, okay, well, that journey came to an end because I think, like you said, like I've gathered what I needed, I've learned whatever I needed, and now it's time to move on. I mean, this is when I got pregnant and with my first child, and I just felt like this was not the right space for me. But there are so many examples like that in my life where just things would end and I would do something different, something new, and that's okay.
Yeah, and it's that like I was so hard on myself in those factors, and then being able to go, no, you learn things really fast, and that's okay. It doesn't mean that you're a fraud. It means that you can learn things very fast. And then also that you can jump from this to this to this to this to this, and that's okay because you're that information gatherer. You're that viewing all sides person.
Right.
And the fact that along this journey, the beautiful thing about that is, yes, giving yourself that permission to say that's okay. That's what's needed. That's your part of the you're that part of the puzzle. Is there something wrong with you being that part of the puzzle? It's like, no, there's
Mm-hmm.
not.
Yeah.
Like, judgment is something that I would even say we all do. And even spiritual people, it's okay to I like within like spiritual realms, it's like you got to get rid of all judgment. And it's like, yeah, you do, but that doesn't mean you also have to negate it when it comes up.
Mm-hmm.
It means you have to accept it when it comes up, but not let it change who you are or your view of it. Like, let's
Mm-hmm.
say I look at someone and they're homeless, you'd be like, first instincts are like, how can I help that person? But then I've come to the realization that if they need help, I will be drawn to actually giving it, not just like an initial reaction, or I'll have the means right then and there to give that help. But that's their journey.
Mm-hmm.
That's your part of the mirror that you're seeing of the beauty of us all, and that person is beautiful exactly as they are, and
Yes.
nothing about that situation actually needs to change.
Exactly. A lot of those people don't even want help. Sometimes we
No,
try to help them. They don't want it. They need to go through that experience. Their soul needs that. And
is
sometimes
that
we think, well, let's just give them, I don't know, $1 million and they'll be okay. No, they won't be okay. That money is not going to change them. They're just going to go back to living on the street again. Yes, it's absolutely true. Everybody has their own journey in this lifetime, right? This is where we are right now on earth in this lifetime. Who knows what will be in the next life? Who knows exactly what was in the previous life? So, yeah, I just feel like we can't really judge in the sense that we can't see the big picture.
not
Most of us,
that's the thing, like
yeah.
none of us, even mediums, even people that like, I would say I can see a lot, but I can't see everything. I'm only given the views that I can see, that I need to progress myself, but also us all forward. Like,
Mm-hmm,
and that's it. And you're given your vision, like, of life, so you can help progress us
mm-hmm,
forward.
mm-hmm. Yeah.
And like, I don't know what that is. I'm just along for the ride, going, okay. A big part of my journey has been that complete, like, letting go of control of, like, I've done experiments, and I often will tell people that I talk to and clients that one of the best things that you can do if you have a lot of control, or you think you control your life, is to actually not control it for a whole day. Like, tick everything off the books. Like, don't do anything. Don't like if you to make yourself feel comfortable in doing this, like make yourself feel comfortable, whether that's canceling all our appointments or booking a sick day or whatever. But I want you to go to bed with like the intention that in the morning you are waking up and you are making no decisions. Life will take you.
Mm-hmm.
Wake up in that morning, and whatever the most exciting thing for you to do that day is, do it.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone that has done that has come back and usually said, it was the most amazing day. And I had no control over anything. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, because you don't. And a lot of the time we are fighting that so hard. And it's that fight that
Yeah.
causes so much stress and struggle and anxiety and depression and all the things. It's like the best thing for you to do is just, and you need to convince your mind of this, which is why I say make yourself comfortable and only do it for a day.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to let you in a secret. It doesn't last a day. Once you do it once, then you'll do it. Maybe it won't be started, but then you'll do it another day, and then you'll keep
Mm-hmm.
going, and then you realize, oh, that's every day, all
Yeah.
the time.
Wow, that's pretty
That's what
neat.
happened to me. It's like every day, all the time.
That's awesome. I'll have to try that. I mean, I try anyway to just go with the flow and not fight the current. And I honestly now believe that everything is in God's hands. This is how I look at it. And I just keep telling my mind, because sometimes my mind does get in the way and I do worry and I do get anxious occasionally. And I just have to remind myself, like, for example, this is the most common one for me. I'll be driving down the highway and just something comes over me. I don't know if I'll crash. I don't know if somebody's swerving into my lane and I don't feel secure. And then I just have to tell myself, if I need to get in an accident, I will. Even my husband, who has been a great supporter of me on this whole spiritual journey, he always reminds me, like, Yulia, if it's your time to go, you're going to go. Like, there's nothing you can do about it. Just let go, enjoy this ride,
Yeah.
and whatever happens, happens. Like, some things you really can't control. No use in worrying about it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. And so those I love how you've already said this in the past on your podcast, but like those are mini tests. Those are mini tests of faith and trust.
Yeah.
And when you can overcome the doubt and the darkness of that fear, not push it away, but like accept that exactly what you did, like you accept, like in those situations you could be like, oh, that you could mentally overlay it and go, that's not going to happen, that's stupid, I wouldn't do such a thing. That's a mental overlay. Or you can do exactly what you did and you can go, hey, whatever happens is exactly what's meant to happen,
Mm-hmm.
and I have trust in my path in life. And that is what like connects your mind and body and soul all together, and it's the good stuff.
Yeah, no, that
I
sounds
know, for me.
amazing. I feel like we could talk for hours because there's so much to talk about, but I also don't want to overwhelm the listeners with too much information. One last thing that I would like to mention is another one of your little videos that drew my attention on Instagram. It was about these spiders around your house. And, so
Oh,
first, let me tell you, well, I haven't been to Australia yet. It's on my list of places to go. But I understand that you have quite a wildlife and insect life around there. So, it's not a surprise to me that you have these spiders and everything around your house. I mean, we do too here, but maybe not as big or something. But I just want to say that before my spiritual journey, I honestly was very, very scared of spiders and other insects and things. And I have to say that ever since I began on this journey and I started to see love and beauty and God in everything, I stopped being scared of them. Okay, I'm not crazy about them. Okay, like I've held a tarantula. Okay, like I'm not gonna just like go and hold every spider. I'm not crazy about them, but I'm not so scared about of them anymore. And recently, it's funny, we went on a camping trip, and it was, I don't know if you have this in Australia, but here in Northeast Ohio in United States, we have these mayflies. I don't know if you've heard of them.
Oh, I've heard of them. I've heard of them, yes.
Okay. They're these really strange creatures. They come out in May and they live for a day, maximum 2 days. And their job is just to reproduce and die. It's really, it's really weird. But so we were camping, and I'm not lying. Like there were just areas where you couldn't take a step without stepping
Yes.
on like 100 flies, and like you would be,
Oh,
yeah, I mean, like the cars would be covered in these flies, and then they would get on you, and they have these sticky feet. They're really strange, but like they're totally harmless. Okay, and they're actually kind
yeah.
of cute, and we would take them by the wings and just take them off our clothes and everything. But I'm telling you, like if this happened to me a few years ago, before any of this journey, I would have been freaking out. Let me tell you, didn't bother me. I was just like, okay,
Yes.
this is part of nature. This is God. There must be a reason for their existence, however silly it is. And
Yeah.
we camped and we had a good time. And a lot of people were complaining. And I was just like, it's fine.
There is so a similar thing happened for me around sand. I don't particularly like sand. It gets everywhere. Like it's I've always like avoided it, or I've always complained about it or something like that. And ever since, like, especially my latest shift, I will actually just go and sit in the sand and like feel
Mm,
every grain, and the knowledge that every single grain of that sand is like so integral and meaningful within this life, whether things are dead, alive, or every single cell of anything is so important to this picture that we have of life, that every single thing is beautiful. And I used to worry like about staying clean, like
mhm.
like if I got dirty I would change clothes and like all that, and I'm like none of that bothers me now. I used to wear like so much makeup, and I'm like, no, don't need that. Like
Yeah, same.
occasionally occasionally I'll still wear makeup. Like if I want to, I don't feel still those feelings that I pampered myself extra.
Hmm.
Then I will put makeup on. But a lot of the time I'm like, no, because like exactly who I am and exactly how I am at any given moment, including with or without makeup, is exactly what I need to be.
Yeah,
It's just so freeing, right? It's just like,
it is. And I don't know if it has to do with my getting older, my having become a mom, or my having gone through this spiritual journey. I don't know what it is, but I used to care so much what people think about me, so
yeah,
much. And
100%.
now every day, less and less, I care about what people think about me. Honestly, it's so freeing. Like whatever I want to wear, whatever I want to say, because I had such a filter on myself always. Like I was afraid to say what I wanted. I was afraid to wear what I wanted, whatever it is, right? And I just feel like every day, less and less, it's important to me what others think. It's about my happiness. It's about what I feel is best for me.
Yeah. So what I'm wearing today is a jumper, and I always used to like, I swear, like I kind of look like I've just walked out of a forest
Ah, that's cool.
often, and a lot of people will say, "Oh my God, you look like you've just come from an adventure," and I'm
Ah,
like, "Yeah, I think that's what I like to look like. I look like I've just come from an adventure, and I'm always going on an adventure, so
yeah,
100%."
that's
But
awesome.
it's about, and that's the thing about intuition as well. It's about trusting exactly how you need to be in a moment and not letting your mind kick in, because your mind is an amazing tool. It is like, I, in my opinion, I think our mind is one of the strongest tools on earth. Like,
Mhm.
look at all its creative ability, and then the fact it can connect to source so well, and like be able to do all these different things. Like, nothing on earth has that mind. No,
Mhm.
no, no other, like, it is one of the greatest tools on earth. And it's about learning, though, that it actually has no control. Not only does it not have control, but it's not in charge.
Right.
But our mind loves to think that it is in charge. And then it uses all these beliefs and systems to keep you thinking that it's in charge. And then when you realize that it's not, it's just so free. It is, it's that freeness. And then realizing that, yeah, other people can judge me and that's okay.
Yeah. Right. That's okay.
Because that's their thing. That's actually doesn't have to affect my happiness in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah. Yeah. It's taken me this long to come to that, but hey, better late than never.
Always, always better late than never. The thing that a lot of people struggle with going down that path is, with that, you have to own every single judgment you have ever made.
Mm.
You need to, well, I don't know about you, but for me, I had to see every single judgment that I had ever made on in any single person and accept it exactly as it was.
Mm.
And that's scary for a lot of people to do. I'm just not very scared of very much.
That's right. Wow.
I definitely felt the fear, but I felt the fear and was like, okay, let's go anyway.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. Wow. Well, it's been pretty neat talking to you on the other side of the globe there. And this is kind of like when I picture the different perspectives that people have, this is kind of like what I picture. We have this round globe. I'm on one side of the globe, you're on another, and you might see from a completely different perspective. We have found common ground. We have a lot in common, but if you just think about it, I mean, we're different sides of the globe, and just to keep that in mind when we come across people that don't agree with us, I'm really learning not to push my ideas onto anyone. When I first started this spiritual journey, I wanted to share and also kind of like sell the idea to everyone else because I was so excited about it. I just wanted everybody to be on the same page as me. But then soon I realized that it's not possible because some people are not ready, some people are not interested, whatever it is, or they come from a completely different background, time, whatever, right? So just to keep that in mind, I think.
Just it's such a big thing to within that there is that trust. There is that trust that the people that are meant to resonate with you, to have that frequency, will meet you where you're
Yeah.
at and will see those things. Like with being on a whole bunch of groups like I am, I'll see some people and some things will just like I'll hear like sometimes I hear bells.
Hmm.
And so I'll go and I'll message that person. And a lot of the time, majority of the time, I will get like, that is exactly what I needed to hear.
Oh.
The other day though, I got the opposite. I had someone like completely attack me for what I said,
Oh.
but they actually didn't hear what I said. Like it's interesting, and you probably will experience it a couple of times. And it's this phenomenon that you can write sometimes the most light, like whatever you want to write, but someone can only read what they see and what they understand,
Or what they want to see.
or
Yeah.
what they want to see. And it's always so interesting to me. And from where I am, I'm like, I that they had attacked me, and I said, when you're ready, reread this. That's like the only thing that I posted back after what they said. And I'm like, and they posted something else. I didn't actually even read the second bit because I was like, I just felt that same like negative energy. I'm like, that's fine. But maybe it's not going to hit now, but maybe later on,
Yeah.
that seed will actually go, oh, that's what that person was talking about. The issue with that is then I like, and I don't hold on to this, but like later they'll go like, oh, that's what that person was on about. Oh my God, they're actually trying to help me. And then they'll have that judgment on themselves. I'm like, no, I kind of want to cut that. If I could cut that from people, like I really would. But then that's its own journey in itself.
Yeah, exactly. Well, all we
But
can
yeah,
do is just try to help by spreading our love, being
so,
the light in the darkness. Darkness, not bad either, but
exactly.
still being that lightness, being that sunshine for people who really need that support and light. I think that's awesome that you're doing that. And, I commend you for that. And thank you for doing what you do. So,
That's the. I'm very happy to be doing what I'm doing, and I'm very happy you're doing what you're doing because
mhm,
like I kind of want to start a podcast or a video, but I actually think where I sit is more on this other side of not actually doing it, but just going on other people's.
mhm,
I don't feel like I'm necessarily a spreader, but I love just being able to come and speak and then meet singular people where they're specifically at and
mhm.
helping hold that light in that darkness. That's where I really feel drawn to at the moment. So that's what I think I'm going to
Oh,
do.
that's awesome. Thank you so much for doing this. I'm sure we will connect again down the road because as we're learning and growing, there's so much more to always share and talk about. So
Exactly.
we
Exactly.
will.
I'd love to maybe on another call, we might actually see if we can activate your light language if you want, Yulia.
Ooh, yeah, okay. That would be something. Oh my goodness. Okay. Now you got me thinking.
So yeah. No, 100%. Like yes,
Okay.
we could definitely do this.
All right.
Because that, and then we'll be able to. But then you'd have to be okay with letting it out. Because sometimes what I have noticed is that some people will start. It needs to really be a safe space. So maybe on that one we might not release it, but
Right.
unless you feel comfortable to.
Yeah, of
But
course. That would be so neat. Wow. Well, thank
yeah,
you so much, Talia. We will be
no
in
problem.
touch and yes, have an amazing you have a day, right? I have night, you have day. Have an amazing day.
Have an amazing night.
Thank you.